What's up? How you doing? Here we are. Beautiful night tonight. Beautiful night, but it's late, almost midnight, and everybody knows midnight is when the day begins. So I'm a little bit hungry, and have flat iron steak. Flat iron steak is great, right there. Flat iron steak is great, especially for the night. So have a pan here, eco-friendly. I have ghee, butter, has a higher burning point, and garlic, and then salt and pepper. The salt is from Pakistan, Himalayan area, Himalayan mountains, but really from the Pakistan side. So we begin the engine. And we add the ghee, the karate ghee. This is from the fridge, so you gotta break it up a little bit. I don't know where all these people driving by are going at night. So we will add some garlic for flavor, but I don't take the skin off here because I don't want it to burn. I want it to kind of cook and release flavor slowly. Put one there, not too many. I have mentioned before that my personal record is 2.5 bulbs, not cloves, bulbs. 2.5 big ones I ate one time. And what I did was I cleaned them and then I cut them into little, squares and triangles, and then I put olive oil, and then with a spoon I force fed myself garlic with bread, a little bit of bread, not much, but a little bit. And it felt like my stomach was on fire. Crazy heat. You can smell that nice fragrance, the garlic. Now, we add, listen to that, huh? Steam. That smells so good. And I'm gonna flip it with this. Flip it because you don't want to have one side cooked and the other side raw. I'm gonna ask my daughter if she wants a slice if they're still up. Immediately she said yes. So you get a nice crusty crust. And then you cook it a little bit more and then you eat it. You don't want to overcook. A lot of people overcook their steak. Listen to that. Fantastic smell. People always traveling back and forth. I always wonder where they're going this time of night. I feel like the great Santini doing magic. The great Santini. So I'm going to get a fresh plate. Alright, I'm going to be right back, and I'm going to get a new plate, or maybe somebody will get it for me. Isabella,
Yeah.
can you give me a brand new plate?
What plate?
Plate. Clean plate. That's good, that's done. Oh, get 2 forks and a knife.
Okay.
Do you want the garlic?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to get situated in a second, and we'll be speaking. All right, hold on. Or go about your business. Do you? I get you. Get a plate. I get you a piece here. It's medium rare, rare. Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, here. Have the garlic.
Yeah.
Is there more?
Yeah.
Where are you going? You want
The living room.
Upstairs? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love you.
Love you. All right, so this is medium rare. I gave a half, so we'll see how it is. Delicious. Flat iron. So good. juicy. Very tender. You hear that? Mama's boy. Very juicy, very juicy. Delicious. You can taste that garlic in there. Look at that. Very good, very good. We'll finish it off. Good crust. It's after midnight now. Yeah, I'm very surprised how tender. I mean, this is very tender, very soft. The cat. Funny. That cat is funny. Psst. So I heard a noise like somebody jumped, and I kind of knew it was a cat because this cat does that. So the cat gets on top of the roof over there, jumps down on the first truck, and then jumps on this truck here, and then comes over here and hangs out right there. So I'm going to say this was amazing. Great rich flavor, and most importantly, very tender. Very soft, but the flavor amazing. So I'm going to bring something out. I have a beverage and try it out. So I shall be back, and I will be back in a flash. All right, I am back. Cold water, and we have a brand new beverage here. Uncle Nearest, 1856. Oh, my cat. I mean, this cat sees something. Oh, look, that's clever. So this kitten over here, I put some food, right? Obviously hungry, and then it was eating and it stopped abruptly and kind of looked over there like, and I didn't hear anything, and its buddy, the black cat, came by. That's good hearing. That is good hearing. Anyway, so Uncle Nearest, 1856. This is premium whiskey, premium, 100 proof. So we're gonna try it. I've had, you know, the other ones there, the rye and the other, forget the year. But anyway, this one here is the 1856 variety and 100 proof and premium. So check it out. So we will open it. Should have brought a knife. What do I have here? Tougher than a Goodyear tire. All right, let's see what's going on here. We're gonna have a little bit. A little bit is just right. Too much is too much. So always drink in moderation. When you go out, 1 per hour up to a point, you know, and have your meal, have 1 per hour, and never drive drunk. Otherwise, you're going to wrap yourself around a telephone pole or a tree. There we go. Wow, that is good. Right off the bat. That is good. That is good. Now, I've had this will be the third variety, Uncle Nearest, and I'm going to tell you that they make good whiskey. Good whiskey. I mean, the formula that they have for this is perfect. If you want to try some good whiskey, this is it. This is good stuff. So this bottle is $85. Not bad. You know, I mean, you could find cheaper ones, you know, but they're not going to be as good. But this one here, $85, is worth every penny because they just have the perfect formula. So a little bit of water. That's good water. So we try a little bit. That's it. In moderation, everything is better. Good. Great aroma. Wow, that's nice. Give it a stir. Mix up the ingredients. Yeah, it's pleasing to the smell sense. Good. Yeah, that's good. That's you can tell they put the time, the effort, and they have the talent. If you want to know about the history, look it up on Wikipedia, or I'm sure their website, Uncle Nearest. So tonight in the night sky, we see Uranus and Jupiter. So Jupiter is nice and bright. Uranus is a little bit dimmer. First of all, not as big, and a little bit further out. But it's amazing, the gaps. You look at the solar system and you go, wow, that's huge. I go up to the Griffith every once in a while, and you have the sun, you know, it's on the ground, but you have the sun here, it's to scale. Then you have Pluto further out, and you keep going, and you go, wow, look at these planets, they're kind of far apart. You look at Venus, Mars, Earth, you know, they're kind of far apart. And then you start looking at things like Saturn, Jupiter, you know, and you go, wow, that's way out there. Amazing. Good little flavors in there. I just don't have the experience to tell you what they are. I could say there's a hint of vanilla, maybe a little bit of caramel, and then somebody who really knows about this stuff will be like, what's he talking about? There's nothing like that in there. It's like a big bottle of cologne though. A little cologne here, aftershave. I like the bottles. I like to tell these companies that make fine, you know, spirits, things like that, never go to plastic. Never. Always use glass. Glass has no aftertaste, no residue. It's clean. The other stuff, plastic, leaches, releases chemicals into your, and I'm talking about if the stuff is warm. Like you put warm water in a plastic container and you're going to start tasting the plastic. Ah, man, that's good water. That's the idea, though. See, the thing is, the first sip is sacrificed. You can taste it. You go, that's pretty good. But the second, third, fourth, fifth sip, that's where you really pick up the flavor. And this is a smooth, very, very smooth, very smooth. But like I said, do not abuse it because you'll regret it. Just a little bit at a time. You know, I've been listening to Yoko Ono lately, and it's tough. Yeah. Some people like it, you know, for me it's tough. Yoko Ono. Now it tastes even better. So remember the old days when double albums would come out? An artist would be like super productive, super creative, and they would come up for material. I mean, they would come up with material for 2 albums. Sit there writing and writing and writing, and I'd be like, whoa, I got like 20 songs here. I could do the double. So they would count, they would call up the record company and say, yeah, listen up, I have about 23 songs here. Can I do a double? And they would say, sure. And then you'd see like, anytime you see a double album being released, that means the artist was red hot. Red hot. And examples would be Pink Floyd, The Wall. That is a double album, and that album is awesome. I remember one time, you know, I knew about it, but I had never heard. I mean, obviously, I knew, you know, Another Brick in the Wall there, but I didn't realize how good that album was. So one day, this is decades ago, I was over at my friend's house, and I put the album onto the turntable, and I listened to everything on that album, you know, all, you know, 4 sides, and I was thinking, this is a damn good album. So but there's a bunch of artists who decided to put out a double. In those days, you couldn't fit a lot of songs on a vinyl. It was limited. So the rule was 9, 10, possibly 11 songs. And I grew up at a time when 10 songs was the norm, 9, 10, you know, and I felt that once you hit 10, then the quality of your writing would go downhill. You know, it was like a lot of it was filler after that. And so when I would get an album that, you know, like somebody would say, hey, I want to do 13, 14 songs on a CD or something, I would look at some of those songs as being unnecessary. I was like, why'd they put these songs on here? Just pick, in my opinion, pick the 10 best songs and put them on the album. That's it. 9 or 10 songs, put them, that's it. If you have 20, pick 10 of the best, right? And it gets a bit tiring, you know, it's you're listening to an album and it keeps going on and on and on and on. Now, if you're a fan of the creator, like, you know, say you like Elton John, and Elton John releases an album of 15 songs, then it's not a problem. But if you're an average fan, you want the best of the 15 instead of all 15. But yeah, if you look it up, you'll see that anytime a band is red hot, or a, you know, solo artist is red hot, they will release a double. So yeah. I don't know if Peter Frampton Comes Alive was a double. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Peter Frampton at one point was red hot. Especially that Comes Alive album. Yeah, now it hit the peak of flavor. Can taste it. It's really good. I do taste a hint of vanilla. But I love vinyl. Vinyl is so good. You know, first of all, you have a big, you know, picture, and then the inside, the artwork, the lyrics. In the old days when I would buy an album, I would analyze it first. I'd check out the photo on the front, the back, the fonts, and then I would open it up. You'd smell that fresh album smell, and then I would check out, you know, the photography, the artwork. But I would never read the lyrics before I heard the album for the first time. So I would put the lyrics aside, because somehow it would change my perception of the album when I read the lyrics. So I would play it the way it was intended to be, you know, just listen to it first. And after the 15th, 20th time of hearing the album, then I would start picking away at the lyrics. I would open up the lyric sheet and I would start reading, and I would say, oh, this is what that said. For example, and I've said this before, when Billy Joel released an Innocent Man album, good album, you know, a lot of hits on that album, the song Tell Her About It, I thought, because this is before I read the lyrics, I thought he would say, give her every reason to accept that chumpereel. And I thought chumpereel was like, give her every reason to accept your nonsense, your pain in the ass stuff. I thought chumpereel was slang. There was no internet back then to look it up, you know. So time went by like it usually does. And I said, I'm going to investigate the lyrics. Now, this is after listening to it over and over and over. So I was looking at the lyrics, and I read, give her every reason to accept that you're for real. I go, that's what he says? Never knew that. Although My Way sounds good too. Give her every reason to accept that chumpereel. Next time you hear that, just chumpereel. He never had a double. He did have a double in a sense, correct that, but wasn't new material. It was a double of Greatest Hits Volume 1 and 2. But he's not a guy that would sit down and write a lot. You know, he would write exactly what was necessary for the album, and if he was lucky, he had hits in there, and if not, he had a lot of filler. So, and in interviews, he says the exact same thing. There's no hidden vault with his extra material in there, nothing. I mean, he may have something now that he's, you know, been sitting around not composing much and just, you know, writing music, but, you know, Springsteen, I'm sure, has tons of stuff in the vault. He would write like 30, 40 songs and then record the 10, 12 best ones for an album. Like Born in the USA, he wrote a lot of songs for. But 90% of those extra songs are probably garbage. Prince was like that. Very talented guy. People would always say, if given one or the other, who do you prefer, Michael Jackson or Prince? And I will say, it's a hard choice, but for me, I give the edge to Prince. Talented musician all around. Vocally, he was great. And then he could play like every instrument, including the xylophone. So, you know, he was great on the guitar, amazing guitar player. Where Michael Jackson, I don't think played anything. maybe air guitar, but very creative. Vocally, he was great, but he was not a instrumentalist. So it doesn't mean, I mean, he was still a great singer, right? For that style. For me, singers that I enjoy, of course, Muddy Waters, but if I want to get into the rock, it would be Steve Perry and Bob Seger. Love Bob Seger. Turn the Page, Beautiful Losers. That song he did there back in the 80s with the Silver Bullet Band. Blame It on Midnight. Love that tune. That's a great song. Blame It on Midnight. Because midnight is when the day begins and all the crazy stuff happens. Or happen. All the crazy stuff happens. Yeah, he doesn't sound the same anymore. I remember I bought his last album that he made. I think he retired now. And the voice was a little bit different. But Bob Seger of the 70s and 80s, man, that guy, amazing. Amazing. Loved his music, loved the style, the energy. And then the Silver Bullet. Apparently they went after vampires. But yeah, Bob Seger. Then you had Pete Seeger, the folksy guy there. I would listen to his stuff. I listen to everything. Now it's really good. Now it's got good flavor. And I will say, when I have a little bit of whiskey, it reminds me of First Blood Rambo. When they shot the missile in the cave, and they thought Rambo had died, and Teasel meets Trotman, Colonel Trotman, in that local bar. It's like a restaurant bar, and they're having a drinky poo. Like the Colonel already has it, and then the Sheriff Teasel, he's got something going on too. It looks like brandy, whiskey, something like that. And that's what I think of. I think of that. I was there last summer. Went through that town. I don't know where that bar was, but that was probably like I don't know. I don't want to say it was a set. It was probably not a set, but I couldn't find a bar that looked like that. Love that town. Beautiful town. Psst, psst, psst. Guys are up late. Cats are up late. When it's trash night, I do it late. I'll do it at like, sometimes I'll do it at 1 o'clock in the morning. I've done it at 2 o'clock in the morning where I bring the trash out. And the orange cat is out following me around while I'm doing the trash. It's getting quieter. People going home. I don't know what they're doing out this late. You know what story I enjoy? We're heading towards Christmas now. Not that close, but it's close enough. Halloween coming up, and I love the girl with the matches, little girl with the matches story. Love that story. When I was a kid, my mother would read me that story on Christmas Eve, and I felt so bad for that little girl. She was an orphan. She would hallucinate that her godmother or the fairy godmother would take care of her, or try and warn her mother, who had died, would show up and take care of that lonely feeling inside when your parents have passed away, have died, at that age especially. Very sad. And so she would sell matches to try and make some money and buy food. And I guess the story takes place in the 1800s. And in the book that my mother would read, it had, you know, illustrations. So it had pictures in there, and it would show her shivering. And then she would light matches up to warm her up, and that would last for a moment, and then they would, you know, burn out. And then in one picture, she's running across the street because the horse carriage thing, and it looks like England or something, is coming her way. And as she's running across, she loses one of her shoes, or both shoes, both of them, I don't know. And these punks, you can tell they're punks in the picture, they steal her shoes, and there she is shivering in the cold, no shoes, alone in this weird world we live in. And I was like, you know, fascinated with that story. I could literally feel that, you know, even now thinking about it. And there are times when I felt like that little girl, like traveling, and you end up, you know, in cities that maybe you didn't bring enough money with you, you know, you kind of broke on the way to these cities, and you end up and it's chilly out, and you're walking around and you're tired, and you feel like that little girl in the story. So I've always enjoyed The Little Match Girl. Great story, and anything that makes you feel the emotion inside of what the story is about, you know, is a good story. It's like a little bit of a caramel flavor, vanilla, just a little bit. It's like a hint. It's almost like you're imagining it. So yes, it was one of my favorite Christmas stories to hear. The girl with the matches, the little match girl. Watching the cat. The cat climbed. It's funny. Yeah, and then, you know, she would read me. We had another one, the Hansel and Gretel story. Try and teach kids a lesson. Stay away from strangers. And in this case, stay away from your parents. See what they did to them. They abandoned them. Well, it was the stepmother's fault, really. And the father's for going along with it. Those are his kids. But I don't really have any idea how people get lost like that on mountains. You know what I mean? Mountains. Just follow the sun in one direction. Eventually you're going to, you know, get through. Now, mountains are difficult. Mountains go up, they go down into the valley. You got to go up. So by the time you do all that, you're exhausted. You can die from dehydration. You can die from hunger. Psst. People used to say, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty." They don't care about that. Hansel and Gretel. She was a cannibal. Trying to fatten up the boy to cook him. Like, how hungry are you that you have to eat a kid? Hansel and Gretel. The other one, what was the other one there with Rumpelstiltskin there, that story. She had to create gold from the hay, and then the prince would marry her. She didn't know how to do it, because you can't. And then this little person would show up, like a leprechaun, and he would say, "I could do it for you, but your firstborn is going to be named after me. Unless, of course, you can guess my name. You can guess my name, then don't worry about naming the kid after me." And she was all depressed. She ended up marrying the prince because she made tons of gold for them out of hay. And then she had her firstborn, and Rumpelstiltskin showed up. No, not name. What am I talking about here? Not name it after him, but he gets to keep it. Gets to take the kid from you. So I don't know what power. I mean, how? Showing up with an army, you're gonna beat the kingdom there, the king of Managua. So anyway, finally, she discovers the name Rumpelstiltskin, and that's German. And if you see what that means in German, it's kind of funny. I'm trying to think of another cool one. Well, my mother used to get a magazine when I was a kid, and it was, you know, interesting magazine. It had a lot of creams, you know, how to keep your skin soft, advertisements, but they had other information. And then in the middle, right in the middle, they had like a kid's fairy tale story. And when I was little, my mother would read me, it was 2 pages. She would read me that, and I enjoyed all of them. Great writers for that magazine. It's gone out of business now, so. Beep. She read to me Little Red Riding Hood. That was alright. I just found it weird that they couldn't tell that the wolf was actually the wolf and not the grandmother. You know, what big eyes you have, what big teeth you have. You know, you don't know that that's an animal in there. It's not your grandmother. That big nose with teeth underneath. So yeah, some of these stories are silly. The wolf tricked. Then the what was the lumberjack came in and saved the day. Yeah, sometimes like a piece of wood breaking or something. I don't know what that is. Well, that's pretty much it for tonight. It's getting really late, and tomorrow's a brand new day, Saturday. It's not a 1970s Saturday, but good enough. Yeah, this is good stuff. That's it for me, but good stuff. And you know, for $85, it's a decent price. I mean, you know, you buy Macallan, and it's much more than $85. I'm talking about, you know, 12, and then the 18. The 18 is really expensive. And Delmar, very pricey. I mean, not very. Probably you know, a decent one for like $115, $120. Chisel. I've said this story before, but I'm going to say it briefly again. So when I was a kid, my father, he was working, putting shingles on a house, cedar, and he was doing the outside, and then I grabbed a piece of, you know, cedar board, and I took my father's chisel, which was very sharp. I started, you know, cutting into the piece of wood, and I was sharpening it into a point. But I wasn't getting good leverage. So I took the wood and I put it against my thigh, and I started digging in, you know, with the chisel, carving it out. And at some point the chisel jumped off of the wood and went right into my thigh and cut me. And you could see, as the cut opened up, you could see first like white I don't know what it was, body fat. And then all of a sudden, the blood would form in little, teeny weeny bubbles. And I go, horrible. That feeling, that feeling when you get cut, very annoying. So instead of learning a lesson from that, what did I do? I switched legs. And I started doing it on this side, and the chisel jumped and it went into my leg, and I got a second scar. But my father, I didn't mention it to. Who needs the lecture? And in those days, you got a little bit extra than a lecture. Lecture would have been okay, but you get a little talking that was beyond the lecture. All right, well, that's it. I'm gonna go up and sleep for a few, and then I'll get up and do everything again the same way tomorrow. Because life is just repeating until you discover something new, and then you start repeating that. All right, ciao for now.